that's a name from the dim and distant past, because I can remember going back to my youth that there weren't a few of these. There were dozens British Road Services lorries running around every town in the UK, really.
The government basically nationalised transport. So it bought everybody who they thought was eligible, and you couldn't not.
Right.
It was compulsorily purchased, and then the old governors had got a choice. But they hadn't got a choice, had they? It was either go and get another career, or you join BRS as a manager or a driver and you fit in the puzzle. And the idea is good, because it's more efficient, isn't it? If you can all tie up loads in Newcastle with loads in Suffolk, and you could go to BRS in Newcastle and get a backload home, it's better than coming home empty, isn't it? But the trouble is, the animosity it caused by the government compulsorily purchasing so many people, when they went to BRS, they had no interest in making it work, and they actually wanted to destroy it out of hate, which you can understand, can't you? To me, it's a bit like communism.
Yeah. Yeah. How long did BRS last then, Simon?
Well, it changed. See, the A licences, the B licences, the C licences, that all came out in the late 60s where it changed, because before that people actually bought other businesses to get the licences, because they couldn't just work. You had to get a licence and you had to prove a need. And that changed, but BRS continued after they had the monopoly, if you like, running BRS Southern, BRS Eastern. They were white trucks. That became the rental fleet that Volvo ended up buying. It's all a bit... I don't know when the actual nationalisation of it stopped. And small people who were, say, on livestock, who had like a radius of 10 miles, they escaped it. But most of the big firms were swallowed up into a national conglomerate, if you like, but it couldn't work because the whole ethos of the management, it was doomed.
The way it was put together and the way people felt.
Yes. But BRS, I remember in my youth, but they were running alongside standalone hauliers, if you like, at the same time. It wasn't the nationalisation where you couldn't start up. But Bob Carter, as an example, he got George Cooper his licence so he could come to Seawheel and work for him. But Bob had to go with him to prove a need that the work existed to grant George his licence, and before that he only had a restricted licence and he could only work for Carter's at Melton.
Right. So it was, so you would say it was kind of more centrally organised, the transport industry, because now you can literally apply for an operator's licence, and as long as you fill the rules or whatever, you can get
finance. Yes, is the answer, but you don't need to prove work. You don't need the railways to come with you and object or not, or the trade unions to get involved.
But then you did.
Yes, it's an individual, and other operators could object.
Right.
And that caused a lot of trouble, because people who were new, who wanted to start, who'd got a restricted licence, who wanted an unrestricted licence, other hauliers would object and say that there wasn't a need for them, and there's an unofficial cartel, isn't there? And that caused a lot of animosity amongst people, because they're supposed to be mates, but they objected to them having a licence because they thought they'd compete with them for work.
Yeah, which they would. Possibly.
Well, possibly, yes.
Yeah.
But isn't that good?
Yeah.
Isn't that free competition? You can go to any supermarket you want and buy anything you want, and you've got a choice. If we've got one supermarket in Britain and it's X, and you have it or you don't, that's not a choice, is it?